Welcome to this tropical update recorded July 9th, 2019, and we're going to be talking about Invest 92L. So here we have a satellite loop from Invest 92L. One thing we can make out here is that there's some broad rotation here in this system, and that's an interesting thing to note because as it moves over these extremely warm waters, it already has this broad rotation. A lot of times we wait for these systems to start developing the rotations, and sometimes it just doesn't have enough time, it doesn't have enough water before it moves on land. But this system is coming off land with a broad rotation, so that just puts it one step further in the cyclogenesis process. And that's why it's going to be able to develop very quickly as it moves closer to Louisiana and areas like that. Another thing to note is that it does have a lot of moisture to work with because we see this big band of convection in this area, indicating there's plenty of moisture to work with. So here we have a wind profile at the surface. These winds are recorded from weather stations, ships, and buoys. And this is just confirming that rotation that we saw on the satellite all the way most of the way around the system. Here over the areas that's still over the land, it's a little bit more disorganized and things like that, but as the invest area, which is centered here, starts to move down this way a bit, it will tighten up a bit, and that will start the cyclogenesis process. Here, these are the 18Z invest models. So these are just showing you the possible tracks that it could take. And one thing to note with this, you can just see, I mean, these models are taking it anywhere from Houston all the way up to the panhandle of Florida. And this uncertainty is caused by a turbulent steering pattern currently in place. So here is that steering pattern. We have the high centered over the Four Corners region, kind of nosing itself out this way, and then we have the Bermuda High that's been pushing itself into the Gulf of Mexico, and the Bermuda High has kind of been shoving the system further off to the west, and that's putting it into the sphere of influence of this ridge of high pressure here. And what that's going to serve to do is, one, it's going to limit its movement north, so it's going to slow it down as it moves closer and closer to the land, and also it's going to provide some shear on this system, not too much as to break it apart, but enough to limit its development, and we'll see that later. But the models have been kind of back and forth between the scenario in which it's closer to the Bermuda High or which it's closer to the high over the Four Corners. But recently they've been kind of trending towards this scenario here, and we'll see that with the GFS forecast. Here, this is the GFS. The models have been trending towards this idea that it's going to be moving into this Gulf region here from Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas, this area, and it's been coming in line with what the Euro has been saying for the past few days, moving into that area. So here we have the Euro forecast for Invest 92L, and one thing we do want to note with this is that the system is much more broad, much larger as it moves onto land. And the reason why that is that the Euro has weakened this high pressure compared to that of the GFS. So there's less wind shear pushing down on it from the north. So it's able to strengthen a bit more and become a little bit more wide. It can breathe a bit more than that of what the GFS is currently showing. So here we have the GFS and the European forecast. And what we see here is the fact that the surface low pressure indicated by the L is a little bit further north than the lower heights at 500 millibars, which is indicated by the yellow. And what that is showing is that the system is a bit tilted due to the wind shear coming off this ridge of high pressure, kind of blowing the system a little bit tilted. And that's not allowing the system to intensify, because with a tropical system you want it to be stacked vertically all of your low pressures need to be stacked vertically, just to make sure that the system can exhaust itself so that it can breathe, per se. It's a steam engine, so it needs to be able to have a clear exhaust, and when it's tilted, it just can't do that effectively. This tilt isn't enough to destroy the system, but it's just hindering its intensification enough to where it's not rapidly intensifying over these incredibly warm waters in the northern Gulf. And this is just an analysis showing you those incredibly warm waters that I just spoke of. And they're allowing the system to have plenty of moisture as it moves on land, which can be a problem. So with that moisture that's surging up with this system, we just see this big nose of higher rainfall totals. This is from the Weather Prediction Center. This is our 7-day rainfall forecast, and we just see this big nose of rain there, and that's due to Invest 92L moving on shore. And if the models continue their trend and the system does start to slow down as it gets closer, these rainfall totals are very well subject to go up. And that just won't be a good situation. So everyone pretty much from Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida really need to be paying attention to this area, because this can cause a lot of flooding issues for areas who've already seen a lot of rain this year. So it's very important to be wary and pay attention what the National Hurricane Center issues in their forecasts. This has been the video update for tonight. I'll go ahead and try and get another one out for you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.